now proudly presented on SNME. That's Sunday night's main event, Patreon and free feed. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay, back here again on the MLW Rewind. And as you know, I never do it alone. I always do it with my PIC, the one and only Uncle Bobby B.
It's Uncle Bobby, high blood pressure B. That's what the B stands for, high blood pressure. How's it going? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
How's your blood pressure?
Well, after last week and last weekend, it's a little bit raised. And what I mean by that is we're going to get serious here for a quick second on MLW Rewind. This is not MLW related right now, this part that I'm going to speak of, but the Ontario indie wrestling scene, which Rob and I are both versed in. I do work the scene through a couple great promotions. Rob as well has done some work, but he's also been a fan like me of this entire scene. This is one of the reasons why pro wrestling has kept us interested, because we've seen so many stars of the future. We've also honored and remembered the past. And this past weekend, we lost one of our own, which was Rob Rage, an Ontario indie staple. He had been in many promotions, fought many wrestlers. His final match was this past Saturday, and it was against the great Tyler Turva. And it was a great match from what I hear. And unfortunately, walking to the back entrance, Rob collapsed and later was pronounced dead due to a cardiac arrest. So we want to send all our love and appreciation and prayers to his family during this difficult time. And Rob and I have also decided that we want to honor the man in our own way. So right now, we're just going to do a quick 10-bell salute. Rob Rage, that's for you, buddy. We know you're looking down on all of us here in Ontario, and we're going to keep your memory alive. And we appreciate everything you contributed to this scene. Sorry, getting emotional because I did work with Rob at New Frontier, and he was our first grand champion as the great character Cranio X, and he will be deeply missed by all that knew him. You may not have liked his opinions on certain things outside of the ring, but inside of the ring, he was a great talent. And it's unfortunate that his life was cut so short. Rob, you got anything to add before we get into MLW?
I didn't know Rob Rage personally. I did call him to the ring once as Cranio X, but I know a lot of my friends have worked with him, and your friends as well have worked with him for years and knew him well. And so just want to, our condolences out to his family and friends. At the end of the day, he was a pro wrestler. He was a good brother, and it's always sad when a good brother, sister, person, whomever leaves us. So, keep the memory of Rob Rage alive, I'm sure, and the Ontario indie scene will do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Fantastic words for a fantastic talent inside that ring for sure. All right, let's get on a more happier note. This week's episode felt a little all over the place. I'll be honest with you. It felt a little tethered, but there were some bright spots in matches. There were some matches that I think Rob and I may agree or disagree on, but there were some bright spots. What I did love was the beginning of this episode, Rob. It had the vibes of Rocky. Alex Kane is running through the streets, which I assume to be the streets of Philadelphia, where Rocky ran through those same streets. And Creed, Apollo Creed's son, ran through those streets. And now the Bomaye Fight Club captain is running through those streets. And he's talking about how this match between him and Fatu, it's a dream match, Rob. It absolutely is a dream match. And how Fatu has his blood, being the Samoan bloodline and the heritage that's there. But Alex Kane also has his blood, and that is the Bomaye Fight Club. And this fight, this war, that's on Bomaye. And I absolutely loved it. What really would have been the piece de resistance for this vignette, Rob, would have been if he had ran up the library stairs. I mean, I know it's cliche, but come on, man. It has that big fight feel to it, baby.
That's too much of a baby face move. Alex Kane is too
Yeah,
badass.
true.
And I'll tell you, I've just been like all day. I've been walking around my house with the theme song, Bomaye, 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 Bomaye. It's so like super catchy.
It's one word. You got to remember. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
One word, three
badass.
syllables. It is absolutely.
Alex Kane just on fire right now. He really can't do much wrong on the mic or in the ring. So it's what I expect from this guy. He's at a fantastic level right now, and he's still getting better. That's what's scary about him. Like, this kid hasn't peaked. He's still young. So it's scary how good he's becoming, and it's gonna be amazing just watching his career continue to unfold.
Absolutely. And I think this will be his toughest test at Fightland will be him and Fatu, because Fatu's not going to hold back. Kane is not going to hold back. And this would really cement his title reign thus far if he can knock off a former champion, the longest reigning champion in MLW history. So this is a big test for Kane. I'm not saying he's not up to the test, but this is definitely a big test for Kane. And speaking of that, him and Fatu will sit down at the end of the episode tonight for the contract signing, and Court Bauer is in the house for that. We also know that Don King has something to say. He's got an opinion to lay down on this amazing main event at Fightland. And also, it's official. Rob and I talked about it briefly on the last episode. The ladder match was kind of thrown out there, the challenge from SGC, and that's been signed, sealed, and delivered. I will not be doing the portion of the episode today, which is the Fightland Control Center, because nothing has changed other than the addition of the tag team titles now being on the line for the ladder match. Okay, so that's the only addition to this already great card. So we got 4 matches that we know of, and there is still 1 week left before we get to Fightland, which is next Saturday. Okay, guys? So don't forget, Fight Plus, $7.99, great price point. We've talked about it. If you haven't purchased it, I don't fucking know why.
Should we get to I think this is where the calling implode.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is definitely happening, especially with the
or at least Ricky and Akira are going to implode.
Yes, I think Akira may be leaving the calling after Fightland, but we do know that there is a promo that we have to discuss a little bit later on. So let's save it for that. But how about this first match? We got the top guy, Griffin McCoy, and he's coming out with a towel. He's got swag. He's got a pencil mustache. Okay, and he's got this sexy wristwatch, Rob. Not mine. Mine is just a Puma wristwatch. Very $49.99. His was
it's just a Puma.
His watch was a lot nicer than mine. But he's got swag. He has got swag and confidence. And he is sliding into that ring in his MLW debut, but he is taking on a vet in the pro wrestling world. Not only in MLW, but the pro wrestling world. None other than Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. And let me tell you, this match, fucking incredible. Great match. Great match. Way above my expectations. And McCoy, how about McCoy? Let's talk about Griffin McCoy for a second. This kid is fucking phenomenal. He survives the onslaught of Tracy, going from the STF into the crossface, still reaches the ropes, gets the rope break, takes Tracy Williams, okay, shot for shot, trades shots with one of the most underrated strikers in pro wrestling. And then due to Tracy with some unfortunate contact with the ref going up the pile driver, Griffin does find the opening, scores the low blow into a half and half suplex, into that sweet sunset kick for the 1-2-3. So other than the low blow, McCoy impressed the fuck out of me. And I really did enjoy this match. And I think putting him over on Hot Sauce was great. If this kid is a new addition to the roster, I'm excited to see what he can do. No short of confidence. He can handle himself in the ring. The low blow, it is what it is. But everything else was phenomenal. But Rob, what do you got on this? What do you got on this Griffin McCoy kid, man? Because I looked him up and he is not green. He's a 6-year pro, but I think he's due for some spotlight, man. This kid can work.
Yeah, it was named as one to watch on the PWI Top 500 this year. East Coast guy. He's been around quite a bit, like 6-year pro. He's got some size. He's definitely got the charisma. And like, you can teach wrestling, you can bodybuild, but charisma, you kind of have it or you don't. It's hard to teach charisma. So he's got that natural charisma, and that kid can work. They had a great, like, kudos to both these guys, because it was a great match, and a great match comes from two people working together fantastically, which they did here. Tracy Williams, such a wrestler's wrestler. That I loved that, like, move he did, almost like a DDT off the top into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, I thought that was
super cool.
I didn't know what to call it. I was like, is that like an inverted basement DDT / a bulldog? I didn't know what to call it, but it was fucking.
I don't know what it was, but it was effective. It just reminds me of, like, I don't know if you remember Fedor Emelianenko. I can't really say that. He was an MMA guy, okay, but he never fought in the UFC, but he fought everywhere else. And
Okay.
he's basically the best MMA fighter that never fought in the UFC. And he was an absolute monster. And he's Russian, like connected, all that stuff. But somebody asked him once, like, what was his approach to a fight and this and that, and he was just like, I do what hurts. So I just thought, like, that's what it reminded me of Tracy Williams. There, just he does what hurts. Like there's a science to it, but at the end of the day, he does what hurts. That's how I think of Tracy Williams, which is, and I mean that as a compliment,
Oh,
obviously.
absolutely.
We're talking
Absolutely.
pro wrestling here. But that, yeah, no, Griffin McCoy, that reminded us of a local indie guy, Ontario indie guy by the name of Tarek, who does a fantastic springboard kind of, what did he call it, the sunset kick in this case?
He calls it the sunset kick. That's what he calls it. I guess that's his go-to finisher because he set it up with the half and half, and then
And
he went into
he
that.
did it great. But like, I'm always amazed by guys doing that move, like you're springboarding off the rope with one foot, spinning around and hitting dead on target. That takes such agility and precision and timing, and it looked great here. So big win for Griffin McCoy on his debut. I think we'll be seeing more of this kid.
Absolutely. I want to see more of this kid. So I thought usually if somebody gets a win right off the hop, like we saw that with TJ Crawford, he got a win, and now he's been featured in a few episodes, kind of become a regular member of the roster. We haven't
Yeah.
seen him work since those first couple matches because he's in the storyline with Tony Deppen. But regardless, it's been enjoyable to watch Crawford, and now adding Griffin to the mix. Who knows? I mean, I think he could fit in pretty well with Deppen and Crawford. He's got that same confidence, same swag. So I don't know. He could fit in pretty well there.
He could, and it's something I like about MLW is you don't just bring in, and I don't mean this to insult anybody, but you just don't bring in like the big names. You got to bring in the guys who are going to be the big names in a few years. And MLW really does a great job of that with an eye for talent and the young talent we've seen coming in. Ichiban, Nolo Katano, the main event, Griffin McCoy, it's just the list goes on. And so they've got the names, they've got the Fatus, you know what I mean? They've got Matt Cardona and Ricky Shane Page and the second gear crew, but they've also got this whole crop of guys who are going to be at that level in the near future, not the distant future. So really, really enjoying the mix up in the lineup right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Could not say it wrong. So we got a recap of the MSL gift that was stolen. It's almost like Jacob Fatu was the Grinch and he stole Saint Laurent and Cardona's Christmas. As you know, last week there was Grand Theft Auto, and it was Matt Cardona's brand new BMW. Jacob Fatu stole it after Cardona made out with it profusely. I just want to
really
reiterate
into
that.
that. It's
It
just a
was also,
boomer.
yeah, he really was. And it was also a recap of the attack on Thomas, which kind of set up the heat that we now, like the even more heat that we have between Kane and Fatu. Because Kane and Fatu respected each other, but now you throw into the mix that like Fatu inadvertently is accused of going after Thomas when it's not Thomas and we know it's Cardona. But Kane, I guess, hasn't forgotten any of that. But we get an MSL promo, and he's got plans for Fightland. He's got big plans for Fightland. And also for two, you got receipts coming. Okay. You can't steal a car. And I mean, what the hell? Why are you stealing that car? You can't fit your 17 kids in your already existing car. And he swears to God, if they find a roasted pig in the trunk, he is going to be very upset. Very upset. And Fatu will rue the day. He will rue the day. But now on to bigger and better things. MSL wants to bring wrestling to the one percenters. He wants wrestling to be in the country clubs. He wants wrestlers to be in the $1 million homes. He wants wrestling to be where the one percenters can appreciate it and make it the spectacle that the rest of the world sees it as. And now he's going to unveil the new World Titan Federation logo. And let me tell you something. I would have a picture of it behind me, but it's not going to do justice on this TV. You've got to watch it on a 4K TV to really appreciate this modest, yet sexy, yet little bit egotistical logo. It's classic, yet it's new. You know, what's the cliche saying, Rob? Everything old is new again. Does that feel right with this logo
Yeah.
here?
It's
Yeah.
it's just different enough that you're not gonna get a cease and
Yeah,
desister.
yeah.
But it's pretty clear where the inspiration was taken from.
Oh yeah.
So the designer there, good job on legally keeping it within boundaries, but still getting the point across. I had a good chuckle. Uh,
So I
if
fucking
I may,
died. I was
yeah, it was and shout out to MSL.
dying.
Dude, I don't know where that energy comes from. He is so motivated and exuberant when he talks. I don't know how he does it. I wish I had that much energy. It must be you know what it is? It's when you're that comfortable,
Hmm.
you're in a velour tracksuit,
Yeah.
your energy levels are just your confidence is up.
Well, but how about when he took the breather and then unzipped the jacket to get some air flowing? Because he was all worked up. He was very worked up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to get some airflow in there. Velour, comfortable, but not the most breathable
I was gonna say it's not very breathable.
material.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So again, kudos to the WTF logo designer for tweaking it just enough for fans to get it, but you to not get in shit. So well played, guys, well played. Next match on the card: Riley Crow versus Janai Kai. Let me tell you about this match, okay? The entrances took longer than the actual match. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the entrances were about 45 seconds apiece, give or take 30 to 45. The match was 12 seconds. Janai Kai got in. She kicked the girl right in her face. She dragged her to the center ring. Couple shots. There was no defense, and the ref stopped it. This was a TKO. This was a TKO win for Janai Kai. And
Here's my problem.
okay, what you got it. Go ahead. Floor's yours. Floor's yours.
Okay, here was my problem with that. The ref pushed Janai Kai away and then like took time to like check on the girl or like talk to I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the girl. What was her name again?
Riley Crow.
Riley Crow. Thank you. The referee stopped and took time to check on Riley Crow, and she was still moving and like maybe she wasn't defending herself, but she was still like, if you're gonna call the match because she's not defending herself, you call it like mid, like she's not defending herself, ring the bell, and you push Janai Kai away. What I felt like would have made more sense was if Janai knocked her out and she was unconscious, and that's how the match finished. I just thought it was a weird TKO. It's like stop, talk to her, check on Riley Crow. Okay, stop the match. She's messed up, but like she was still moving and conscious, so it wasn't like she's not defending herself because she's not currently being attacked. I don't know. Maybe I'm being ridiculous. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I just thought it would have made more sense if Janai gave her that kick to the chest, pulled her to the center of the ring, roundhoused her in the head, and KO'd her. I thought that would have made a better finish. That's just me.
Absolutely. And I think it might have been kind of like when a wrestler's injured and the ref sends the other wrestler, like his opponent or her opponent, to the corner.
Fair point.
And then he says, hey, you know what? They can't continue. We got to get help out here. They can't continue. The match is over. So I feel like maybe he was trying to figure it out. And then upon checking, realized that she was in no condition at this point to continue this match. So I think maybe that was what they were trying to go with.
That's
I'm
a
not
fair point.
disagreeing with you, but I think that's what they were trying to go with.
No, absolutely, and I'm not disagreeing with you either. I think that's absolutely fair. Just when I watched it, that was my gut reaction that I initially had, and I always go with my gut.
Absolutely. And I don't think your gut reaction was wrong. I also thought the finish was a little bit suspect, but upon looking at the replay, I'm like, okay, I see what they did there. I do see what they did there.
And in terms of building up to, because remember, we saw Janai Kai for the first time in MLW when she won the title. So she had a dominant performance coming out of nowhere in order to maintain this kind of build that she is an unstoppable killing machine, the demon kick. Let's have her do this. It makes sense from a storyline perspective. Excuse me.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. So as her and Selena celebrate, and again, the celebration took longer than the actual match. So they get up to the end of the ramp, and Sam Laterna is waiting. She wants to get some words in with Janai Kai, and she introduces them, and Selena snatches the mic out of her hands and again says, bye, Felicia. She might have also dropped an Alicia in there. I'm not really sure, but it sounded like it could have been bye, Felicia / bye, Alicia, but we'll let it go. And as Sam just gets brushed off, Selena introduces Janai the way a champion should be introduced. She lists all her accolades, all the stuff she is adversed in terms of the fighting styles, and of course, all her monikers that she goes by, then hands the microphone to Janai Kai, who says 2 words. demon kick.
That's it.
That's it. Demon kick, and then walks away, pretty much putting the entire featherweight division on 150% notice. So Delmi XO, when she does get a rematch, she better train.
Coming up.
Becca, when she releases that album and gets back in the ring, she better train. And all the up and comers like TR James and stuff like that, you got a lot of work ahead of you. You better study whatever tape you can, because I don't know if there's any openings or any weak points in Janai Kai's arsenal. Like, again, 10 seconds and Riley Crow was out. Done.
Well, we got the announcement. It's Janai Kai said, bring them both. It's Janai Kai, it's Delmi Exo, it's Tiara James for the featherweight championship. It's a 3-way.
When is that, next week?
I believe that might be at Fightland.
It didn't have the Fightland graphic on it when I saw it.
Then maybe it's next week. Hold on. Let me check the MLW press releases. You continue while I check that.
Yeah, while you check on that, we got a calling promo, okay? And there is definitely more dissension in the ranks of the calling. Okay, Akira's face not happy. Ricky Shane Page is preaching, and he says he's going to make an example of SGC. But then he pushes Akira out of the way, kind of, and then says with his secret weapon, or with his weapon, cannonball. And then he kind of does the Zed thing with the gimp. And yeah, I noticed that. And I kind of chuckled at that. I'm like, oh, look at you, Ricky. Doing your Quentin Tarantino.
You know exactly what he was doing there.
You know what you're doing. And then he's saying no one is safe. And the camera then goes to Matt and Joe as they're talking about this promo, pretty much saying that Akira may not be fully sold on what Ricky is preaching. At that point, Ricky Shane Page comes out from the back, gets up in Joe Dombrowski's face, says, what did you say? Keep my name out of your mouth. Then out of nowhere, Manders shows up. Then Akira shows up, Man shows up, and it's just a brawl as we go into another commercial break. But I got to tell you, this feud is boiling over, and I think you're right. At Fightland, we all knew the implosion was coming, so it will probably end at Fightland. SGC will get their tag team gold for sure, and I believe we're gonna get Akira and Ricky eventually going for the open weight title. Now, as I say that, there was an announcement for One Shot on the Control Center that I do want to talk about, and that is that One Shot Ricky Shane Page will be putting his open weight title on the line against Jimmy Lloyd. Unfortunately, I think that Ricky will get past Jimmy Lloyd, not convincingly, but he'll squeak by Jimmy Lloyd to have Akira waiting in the wings. And I think that's where it ends. I think Akira becomes an open weight title, and that's where everything ends for the calling completely at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's where I feel like the big payoff comes, because they got to have a match, but they got to have a match with more than just the leadership of the calling on the line or the representation of the calling. They got to have that title. I think that title represents a lot. So I feel like now that Akira has lost the MLW middleweight title, and I feel like that the tag team titles are slipping away, I feel like Akira going after Ricky for the open weight title beyond Jimmy Lloyd, so beyond One Shot, I feel like that's the ultimate payoff. That's just my perception on things, but that's the way.
No, I actually agree with you. That's a very good train of thought. I concur.
And did you check, by the way? When is that match?
Yeah. So that actually I was half right. It's going to be at the Fusion TV taping portion of Fightland.
So it'll happen after Fightland, and we'll see it in the weeks to come.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So it'll happen on like Fightland or the day after, but we'll see it in the weeks to come. Okay, fair enough. And Don King, he's there via Zoom, via satellite, if you will. And he says Fightland has a big fight feel. Thank you, Don. We already knew that, but thank you for reiterating that. That's awesome.
Don't talk shit on Don King.
I'm not taking shit on Don. I said, thank you. We already knew that, but coming from you, now it's kind of, obviously it has more stake than me. If I say, hey, it was a big fight feel, nobody gives a fuck what George Mackay has to think. But if Don King says it's a big fight feel, it means something. It does. It means something. It absolutely does. So how about this, the Rocky Romero promo? Sam asking him about the attack on Ichiban, and he kind of, I don't know if you noticed this, Rob, he kind of brushed it off. Didn't even really answer the question, just saying he's looking forward to Fightland. He wants to prove he is the best of the best. He's a dual champion. He wants to prove why he is rocking gold in two promotions, the CMML, middle
makes sense,
title, and the middleweight title. So he's just looking past everything and just focusing on Fightland right now. He doesn't care what Sam has to say or what pot she's trying to stir or what information she's trying to gather. He's just looking forward to fighting. And I think that's the perfect way to build Rocky Romero. Not show your cards, but show enough that people are interested.
Exactly. And I mean, it's Rocky Romero. I mean, we know who he is. We know what
Absolutely.
he can do.
Everybody knows what he can do. The guy's top notch. He's top tier talent. 100%.
Exactly.
How about this Tom Lawlor promo? He's had enough of the Bomaye Fight Club. They're running their mouths on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't even, and it's true. You know, there's a lot of things going on right there. He says on Thanksgiving, it's going to be the WTF versus the Bomaye Fight Club. That's right. We're getting an old Thanksgiving Day throwdown, and they're going to feast on the Bomaye Fight Club. And by the way, I do want to say this, Tom Lawlor, I appreciate everything that you do, and you're filthy, and I get it. But you have cauliflower ears from many years of taking shots. To put your mouth guard in your cauliflower ear and have it hanging, literally dangling while it almost falls off because there's no cartilage. So I don't think that that's what I think Tom Lawlor should do. Tell me if I'm wrong. Get a chain, like any kind of chain you want, and then put like the case that the mouth guard would go in on the chain, and then clip the mouth guard in the chain. I think that represents filthy to the extreme. But like the whole time when Tom Lawler's doing a promo, he's saying amazing things. Tom Lawlor can cut a promo, but I don't know about
All
you.
you can look at is his mouth guard.
Oh, all I could focus on was that ear, and I'm like, is it falling? Is it gonna fall? It's gonna fall. I feel it. It didn't fall, but that's what's intriguing me the most right now. But anyways, what do you got? What do you got on everything I talked about from the Rocky Romero promo? Did we get your opinion? Oh yeah, you agree with me on the Jimmy Lloyd thought process. What do you got on the Rocky Romero promo, and what's your thoughts on Filthy Tom Lawlor's promo and his mouth guard?
I mean, we talked about Rocky a bit, but Filthy Tom, I mean, yeah, the mouth guard. I don't know if there's a way he could be even filthier, like with that mouth guard. I mean, the idea of the chain, the mouth guard on a chain isn't bad.
With the case, gotta have the case,
Yeah,
and you know what? The chain should be gold, but the case should stay plastic. The case
yeah.
should stay plastic.
I mean, it was pretty decent from Tom. I gotta get he's got to get his feet warm again in MLW. He didn't forget how to cut a promo, but I think he was maybe little not at his best. Maybe
Phoning this one in.
nah, I don't want to. I hate using that because it seems like I'm like I don't like to. We like to be constructive. We don't like to put
No,
people down that are out there
I'm
doing
not
things.
shitting on the promo. The promo was
no, I know,
great, but it was I was focused on this, all of this. So
yeah, maybe not the best delivery in my opinion, but who am I?
yeah, exactly.
Who am I?
Who the fuck are we? We're just two men sitting in our basements talking about wrestling. And you know what? From now on, we're gonna start every show talking about where Tom Lawlor's mouth guard may have ended up. That's the segment. That's the segment. All right. Anyways, we get to our next match. I guess it's our main event, but it's not really our main event, but it's the next match on the card. It's the final match tonight, so let's call it the main event. It is the main event, the tag team, going one-on-one against the Bomaye Fight Club. So that's right. J-Line, Midas Black taking on Mr. Thomas and O'Shea. And Thomas and O'Shea look good. I mean, these are two big boys, two tanks. And you know what? Main event got their spots in, they got their work in, which I do appreciate that they always do get their spots in. But Thomas and O'Shea were just too much, and Bomaye gets the win via that vicious power bomb from the on top of the Kuji walk. So they do the Kuji walk, which is O'Shea's finisher, into the power bomb, and it was good night. It was good night, Midas Black. There was no chance. There was no chance for a win. But I will say this. Main event is on, I believe, a appearance to appearance contract. I don't think they've actually been given a contract that I'm aware of with MLW. Go back to the archives though and check out the conversation I had with them. They're great guys, and we did touch on MLW and how much they are loving the experience that they are having there. And they've been brought in for a few of the TV tapings, and I believe they're also going back to the TV tapings in Fightland to take more matches and have more opportunities there, which is great for them. But I feel like MLW is missing the mark here with this tag team. The tag team division was lacking for a while. Now it is stacked comfortably. It is tied in a nice little neat bow. You have an arguably great team. The synergy of these two guys is fantastic, and they can go. They can work. And I understand, hey, when you're on appearance to appearance, you're getting paid regardless, win or lose. And I get that. I totally get that. That's pro wrestling. But I feel like MLW is underutilizing these guys, and they have only won one match that we can think of, and that's not even 100% sure, since they debuted in MLW. Every other match has been a loss. And I feel like MLW should really take another look at these guys and see what they could do with them, because these guys could be tag team champions. And I honestly feel like, and I'm not criticizing MLW. I love the MLW product, but time from time we have to be constructive, and I feel like they're missing the mark on these guys. And I feel like giving them these L's all the time, I don't think it's wise, especially when you're trying to build. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents. Rob, what do you got?
No, that's fair. I mean, they're still relatively young, I believe. Like they're in their early or mid 20s.
I believe they're in their late. I believe it's mid to late 20s, possibly early 30s. Possibly.
Okay. I mean, like you said, they're not necessarily contracted guys. So they're being brought in appearance to appearance. I even have noticed, like, yeah, I was like, damn, the main event just they keep taking these L's. But at the end of the day, I think what's important is that the matches they're putting on are good. Like they're enjoyable matches. So even though they're taking the L, they're still raising their stock by putting on these good matches because other people are looking at this and going, these guys are putting other people over. They're not winning the match, but they're making everybody else look good, which is what's important. You make me look good, I make you look good. And they're making everybody look good, and they're looking good in the process too. I mean, I really enjoy their style. They're very interesting, unique, the way they incorporate their gimmick into their actual, in-ring work with the jumping through the hoop and all the other stuff. It's a cool gimmick. I dig it. They're nice guys. We talked to them at Demand Lucha. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like they could be future tag team champions, but they might be on just kind of a little bit of a Barry Horowitz run right now. They're putting people over, but they'll have their time to shine.
Okay, yeah, that's a what?
Even Barry Horowitz got a push. Remember that?
Absolutely. I had him on my show. Go through the
There you
archives.
go.
Way back in the early days of Straight Talk.
Look at that. Look at that link.
Look at
Full
that.
circle.
Look at that little setup right there, huh? What amazingness. All right, how about this? Let's talk Second Gear Crew School. Okay. Mance Warner drawing out the game plan to Manders and giving Matt Justice an F for being tardy is fucking life. Okay.
It's great.
It is everything that you want and then some. Okay. I never knew that I wanted to be given an education by Mance Warner more than after watching this promo. And I really felt the game plan was there. Here's Ricky. You put him through the table. Here's Akira. He's got a nice little hair. And here's this. See this? What is this? What is this? This is blood. This is blood. You make it bleed.
It's green, but it's red.
It's green, but it's red. You get the gold. That's what you do. And then I feel like we were going to get to like the master part of this educational plan. And then unfortunately the calling jumped them. And I felt really cool when I put this line together. It was a brawl in the hall. That's right. It was a brawl in the hall, SGC in the calling, brawling off camera down a hallway in the 2300 arena. And the tensions there are just boiling over. Tensions everywhere are boiling over right now in MLW as they go on to Fightland. I will say that. Rob, what did you think of SGC School and Professor Manders or Professor Mance Warner? What did you think?
Dude, when Mance goes, he can just go. And like he doesn't even need to say that much because he just Manders going on. Like he's almost like a coherent boomhauer. And he's just like it's hilarious. I don't know where this guy comes up with this stuff, but it's just so simple and so great. And it's his just unbridled enthusiasm for kicking ass that makes him so endearing. Like everyone can identify with Mance. He like just wants to have a couple beers and go out and kick some ass, baby, and that's nothing wrong with that. So I was loving SGC School. These guys are money. Like put them on the microphone, they're money. Sitting at a bar talking, they're money.
Just money in general, baby. Green. And what color is money? It's green. Except if you're in Canada, it's purple, blue, red, and green.
Yeah, it's all kinds of colors up here, baby.
It's brown if you got a C note. Okay, I don't carry a lot of C notes, but I know what they look like.
I haven't even seen a C note in years.
There you go. All right, how about this? It's contract signing time. Court Bauer, he's there. Like we said, he introduces Jacob Fatu, calls him, the longest reigning champion in MLW history. Says he may be going after his second title, and then he introduces the captain of the Bomaye Fight Club, the MLW champion. And Alex Kane walks in, repeating everything Court Bauer said, puts the title down on the table, and then says to Jacob Fatu, how you going to come to a press conference dressed like shit? Quote
barefoot.
Barefoot. Just quote unquote. And at that point, Jacob Fatu had heard enough. The table gets flipped, and it's Alex and it's Fatu, and they're going. And out of nowhere, Matt Cardona comes in to be somewhat of a peacemaker. And then they end up playing tetherball with Matt Cardona as they push him back and forth before they push him out of the way. And then it just blows, and it's a brawl, and it's a fucking disaster. And Court Bauer's pissed, and no contract was signed. This contract signing was never going to take place on camera. They will both sign this contract in separate dressing rooms off camera. It was never a good idea to put these two in a room together until the match.
You know how much of a sucker I am? I still think that when they announce a contract signing, that the two guys are going to show up and actually sign a contract. You'd think after literally years and years of contract signings, you know, just turning into a full-blown Donnybrook, that I would learn my lesson. No, that's why pro wrestling is great for me, because you can still swerve me. I can still enjoy it. And yeah, contract signing, I guess I'm a sucker. It turned into, as I said, a Donnybrook, a what's the other word for it?
A shit show, fucking disaster, a hurricane.
Cluster.
Yeah. It was a clusterfuck. It was everything a pro wrestling contract signing is supposed to be. And you know what? You know what would swerve a whole lot of people is that the contract signing actually happened, and it just happened. They both signed, they both shook hands, took a couple photos, and they went away.
Big swerve.
Everyone, I tell you right now, every pro wrestling fan would blow their fucking minds. You would wake up and the wrestling internet would be going crazy. Did you guys see that contract signing last night? Amazing. You know what they did? What did they do? They signed the fucking contract. Oh my God. Like it would blow the shit out of everyone's minds.
It would be huge.
It would be huge. It will be the biggest contract signing in pro wrestling history. Okay? The biggest. Okay? But it'll never happen because pro wrestling contracts are supposed to be a shit show. They are supposed to be a fucking clusterfuck. A contract signing is just getting two people who hate each other that are fighting for the title in a room and then destroying that. You know what they should do? They should up the ante with how much shit they can destroy and they should stop doing it in the ring. They should do it like they did it back in the day in the boardroom and see how much damage they can inflict to the boardroom.
Oh, I like that. Destroy the boardroom.
Destroy the boardroom. Not a match. Just that's the contract signing. You go like that should be part of the next WWE game or next wrestling game. When you have a contract signing, you could pick your boardroom, and then the only way to win the match is to cause the most insurmountable amount of fucking property damage that you possibly can.
Contract on a pole match.
Contract on a pole match. There it is. There it is. Absolutely. And on that tidbit, for a great part of a future game that EA will steal from me, and you'll have to come back to this episode to see it because I said it. It's out there in the universe now. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. As we said at the beginning of the show, we are now on the SNME network, or we have been on the SNME network for months on months on months. We are loving our experience over there. They have treated us like family, and they have welcomed the MLW Rewind with open arms and open hearts, and we appreciate and we love them for it. And again, just go back when we talked at the top of the show about our fallen brother, Rob Rage, Ontario indie staple. You know, don't leave things unsaid. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until an hour from now. You want to call somebody, you want to check on somebody, you want to talk to somebody you haven't talked to in years. Get hold of them by any means of communication that you can and check on them, because you know what? Life is fleeting and tomorrow is not promised. And I don't mean to get somber. I just mean to be real. Life is too short. Appreciate the ones around you that you can, and love the ones around you that you can as much as you can for as long as you can. Because, yeah, that was devastating news. And that's just that is George's final thought as we wrap up.
I couldn't even add to that. It's well put.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, guys, as always, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. He is the one and only Uncle Bobby B. Socials are in the link below. You can follow us on that Twitter, that X, that whatever the fuck it's called, and other shit. I'm just quoting Tom Lawlor. Oh, and also, I will be starting up a new X account, and it will be Tom Lawlor's Mouth Guard. That's what it'll be. And you can find that soon, coming on all your socials. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios.